Texans about to hop on a plane to Minnesota. We got some clarity, kind of, plus a small controversy in the locker room. It ain't that serious, I can promise you. Plus, we've heard hashtag no Diddy. What about hashtag no Griddy? Let's go inside the locker room, late night edition.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the locker room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it.
Do it live.
Hey. Locker room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk, yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize, every angle's what we really do. We the source, we the pulse of the city too. Landlocked, got the game in the headlock. Localize every time, can't stop, won't stop.
Texans about to get on a plane and go to Minnesota. It is the locker room presented by BetUS. Go to BetUS, use the promo code YouTube150, get 150% deposit on your first deposit up to $2,000, 125% back after that. 'Tis the season of gambling. 'Tis the season of football. 'Tis the season of no Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon will not, I repeat, Joe Mixon will not be playing. They say he's questionable, doubtful, whatever. It would be a shock to see Joe Mixon on the field for the Texans. We know Dameon Pierce won't be on the field. Let's be honest, even when Dameon Pierce is healthy, we don't know whether or not he'll be on the field either. But the Joe Mixon thing, something to keep an eye on. Juice Scruggs, he's back. We'll see how that looks. Sometimes when these guys come back from like the soft tissue stuff, it's 2 series in and they're hobbling off the field. So keep a close eye on that with Juice Scruggs. I think he is a much more important piece than, say, Dameon Pierce or something like that. We also wonder what the running back shares will look like. Cam Akers expected to get the start. Do they use Dare Gumbawale just as much? Do they completely abandon the run altogether? I think there's a lot of factors that could contribute to this game for sure. I personally don't think they're going to run the ball effectively. I don't see that happening. Don't know how much they're going to try. I do trust Cam Akers despite the fumble. It's really just about the depth. This is really when you need running back depth. And I think running back depth when it comes to if Joe Mixon is out, I think that's fairly questioned for sure. And we'll see how they handle this, what they decide to do. Other news, everyone else on the field. We have Nico Collins on the field. Let's go. H-Town asks if Stingley will follow JJ. That's a lot of following, man. That's a hell of a lot of following. Like he moves all over the place. I brought this up on the SNL today, the 4 p.m. post injury report. SNL. There was a time where people looked at Jefferson as just a slot receiver. And as crazy as that is, there was a time where people were looking at him as just kind of a slot guy heading into the draft. I don't think you want Stingley following him around, although we'll see, but that's a hell of a lot of following. That's a lot of he lines up in a lot of places. So I don't know if that's the best idea and if that's realistic. You also trust Kamari Lassiter. Last year, Steven Nelson was kind of banged up on the back end. You also had a lack of cornerback depth, which you really kind of do right now, but you had it 2 down. Including Nelson being hurt. I'm not talking about Nelson when he was being healthy, but including Nelson being hurt, you had that. So we'll keep an eye on what goes down with that. But that is definitely a matchup to watch. Hashtag no Griddy, as I put it. Not no Diddy, no Griddy. Other stuff to keep an eye on. Brian Flores. Brian Flores is getting a hell of a lot of love right now. Brian Flores is getting a lot of love. He seems to be dominating a lot of the dialogue. Football nerds are salivating over the job Brian Flores has done disguising defense and all that. And this is a really good defense. Texans right now, they're top 5 in the league in yards allowed. I think they're allowing 20 points a game through the first 2 games. So here's my whole thing on this Brian Flores thing. Brian Flores can be a good defensive coordinator. He's facing CJ Stroud. So that's not really something that's optional. He's facing CJ Stroud. He could put together a perfect game plan, and CJ Stroud can still find a way to get his. On the other hand, Sam Darnold is facing a really good Texans defense too, led by a really, really good defensive coordinator in Nico Ryans. Furthermore, I don't think the Texans, although they're willing to blitz, I don't think the Texans really have to get creative and disguise and do all this stuff that Brian Flores is getting praised for. I think when you got elite guys on the edge, and we'll hear from Daniil Hunter in a sec, when you got elite guys on the edge, you really don't have to get too creative. And you also have Sam Darnold on the other side. So I think that is something to keep an eye on when it comes to like all this talk about Brian Flores. I like Brian Flores fine, but I like CJ Stroud too. So you damn sure better have a good game plan. Speaking of Daniil Hunter, we had a little controversy in the locker room. Juicy Lucy Gate. I don't know if any of y'all been in Minnesota. I think we actually have some viewers from Minnesota. And shout out to all the viewers in different states, different countries. Appreciate you for coming through. It is the Locker Room, #1 source for Texans digital content. I am Landry Locker. If you're here for the first time, appreciate you. Be sure to subscribe, like, ride along to get the pulse of what's going on with the Texans. I asked Daniil Hunter about going back to Minnesota. He already knew what the story was. And then I asked him about Juicy Lucy's. Juicy Lucy's, when I went to Minnesota, that was all they talked about. Juicy Lucy, man, you got to try the Juicy Lucy. You got to try the hamburger with the cheese in it. Daniil Hunter, I don't know if he's just messing with me. I don't know if he's just like so freaking disciplined. I actually think he has a little bit of more joking in him than he puts out. But this was Daniil Hunter going back and forth, and this is where Juicy Lucy Gate began.
Yep. You can probably just tell me without me wasting breath. Going back to Minnesota, emotions.
Man, I'm looking forward to it. I'm treating it just like any other game. I'm thankful for the 9 years that I had there. They gave me the opportunity to play football. So, just treating it like another game, Looking forward to playing the game this Sunday.
What's the environment like there? It's talked about as one of the better environments in the league.
I think it's rated one of the best places to play. I mean, I've had a lot of memories there, exciting games there. And, it's a really loud environment.
So last week, you hometown debut, you said you had a lot of requests. Are people from Minnesota hitting you up too? It's kind of a tough back-to-back.
Yeah, I mean, there were people hitting me up, but I was kind of locked in this week, just focusing on what's here now instead of whomever is texting me and all that stuff. So I've just been locking in on the Houston Texans.
When we go to Minnesota, we eat Juicy Lucy's. Are you a Juicy Lucy guy? The burgers with the cheese inside?
Juicy Lucy?
You never had that?
Nah.
The Juicy Lucy, the hamburger. See, I should have known you wouldn't eat anything bad like that.
Nah, I never had anything like that up there.
Okay, there you go.
He's lying. I refuse to believe that. After that, actually, him and Chris Boyd, who is also in Minnesota, were going back and forth, and the guys were talking about how he knew what the Juicy Lucy's were. Here is Chris Boyd. Chris Boyd says he's tried it, and he also, if you ever go to Austin, I don't know if you won his rec or not.
See, that's the thing. When I had tried it, it wasn't seasoned, So
okay.
I went home and made my own look, and when I did, I enjoyed it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was cool.
What's the go-to in Austin? Like everybody always asks me in Austin, what's the go-to spot to eat? Where do you got to grub in Austin?
Ooh, I mean,
let's say I want barbecue.
Oh, Rudy's.
Rudy, come on, man.
That's what they fed the team. Rudy's. That's all I knew.
Okay, what about Mexican food?
Mexican food. See, that's where I go wrong with that. I can tell you, Sushi Junai. We go eat at Perry's.
He's a chain.
Was it Fridays or Thursdays? I know we go eat at Perry's for sure. Austin's Pizza. Oh my goodness.
Austin's Pizza?
The pizza rolls. They are the best.
Okay.
And get the Atomic Ranch. Don't forget the Atomic Ranch, or you're not doing it right.
I'm a big ranch guy. I get made fun of for putting ranch on steak every once in a while.
You got to get the they put the I don't know if it's Louisiana hot sauce or whatever it is. They put it in the middle of the ranch. I don't know how they do it. Can't forget the Tommy Ranch when you go to Austin's Pizza and get the pizza rolls. Trust me. That's
I actually checked the pictures out. It kind of made me hungry a little bit, for sure. But that's Chris Boyd. I also texted Brian Robinson, Daniil Hunter's former teammate. His mind was blown. He kind of feels like it's a bit too, that he doesn't know. The Derek Stingley #no Griddy matchup with Justin Jefferson. That's going to be the matchup to look out for. Other matchups this week, and that brings us to the Bet US portion. Again, 150% bonus, up to $2,000 on your first deposit, 125% after that. And tomorrow we got a hell of a lot of college games to get to. So let's look at a little wager to make here. We're doing okay. We're not doing terrible. We haven't lost any money, and we have some open props. So let's check out what we got with Bet US right now. Right now we're at 1590, but we got some open bets for sure. We have 4 prop bets. So we have 200, 300, 400, 500 open. So we're up for the year. Already put $220 on the Texans -1. For better or worse, we'll see how that goes. Let's make another bet this week. Let's localize what's going on in the NFL with the Texans. Let's display selected. They got all the props and everything like that. It's always fun betting on Bet US. Let's look at the Indianapolis Colts and the Chicago Bears. Okay, so you have the two opponents that the Texans have played right now. The Bears are getting a point. They are even money. The Colts are -1 with Anthony Richardson and company. Where should we go when it comes to this game? What direction are we heading here? Really, I don't want to bet on either one of these teams. What I'm going to do is I am going to take the over point total for the Indianapolis Colts, because I think the Bears, I think this could be a little bit more of a shootout. And I am going to put $120 on the over 21.5 for the Indianapolis Colts. Might get down on some props a little bit later, but we're going to put 120 on that. So we have 340 in action. Wife is hopefully not watching, because I don't want her to be upset with me having that much bread, but we'll see. Texans cover the 1, and the Colts score over 21.5. And we will be good to go. So we'll see how the heck that goes. Ranch, there's nothing wrong with ranch on steak every once in a while. I mean, it's not like a all the time thing, but if you have the salad and the steaks there, there's nothing wrong with it. Don't let these hardos who think that they cook good tell you like what's good, like with oh man, my barbecue sauce. With my barbecue, you don't need no sauce on that. It's so good. Come on, man. There's no shame in the ranch. Patty says she's cooking. She's cooking a big pot of Colorado green chili stew tomorrow. Okay. What is Colorado green chili? Colorado green chili. Okay. Not stew. I put that in there. Colorado green chili. Okay. That sounds good, I guess. Maybe. I'm not like foaming at the mouth at that, but I'm sure it's good for sure. Someone says take the over on whatever they got. Swift, Indy's run D's been getting torched lately. That's a pretty smart thought there. I would imagine that the odds makers are somewhat aware of that. Colts run defense is horrible to watch. Watch out for Swift on a heavy diet. So great minds think alike. Cap and Costa saying that. I do wonder, like, is Indianapolis on the verge of being knocked out? I mean, if you start out 0-3 and Jacksonville's got Buffalo, Tennessee's got Green Bay, I think Will Levis is on the he is battling PR hell this weekend as we look at the weekend matchups and we talk about the Texans. And we've talked about the Texans a lot, but if we're just setting the plate for the weekend, let's just think about this. So Will Levis, Gosh Allen, as we call him on here, he's arguably cost them 2 games. Like the Titans have actually put together 2 pretty good efforts outside of quarterback play, and he's arguably cost him 2 games. If he follows that up by losing to Malik Willis, although Jordan Love is practicing, so we'll see if Jordan Love's going to go. There's talk that he might go. We'll see. It's going to be like a game time decision type of thing. But if Jordan Love doesn't go and Will Levis loses a game to Malik Willis, then he's done. Like in the eyes of a lot of Titans fans, especially with kind of how thin-skinned Will Levis is, and he kind of went up there and put together a sob story about he had to change his phone number or whatever, and that sucks for him. I would love to see how that phone number leaked or whatever, and how bad it was. Although I wouldn't want people having my phone number either. But if Jordan Love plays, then Will Levis actually dodges a bullet. You could say, like, from a team perspective, you would rather face Malik Willis, but someone says death threats. Okay. That's not good if you're getting death threats. A lot of people claim death threats. I remember when Easterby claimed it, and it was like, yeah, some random ass Twitter guy said that. But if he's getting death threats, that sucks. Even if he's getting text, that sucks. But Will Levis is out on the social media streets and all that. My point is that he will be very lucky if Jordan Love plays, because losing to Malik Willis would be the end of Will Levis as we know it. At least in the eyes of a large portion of that fan base. You cannot lose a game. It doesn't matter what it looks like. You cannot start the season 0-3 and lose to Malik Willis, who the Titans got rid of. And nobody thinks Malik Willis is that good. That would not sit well with a large portion of that fan base. And it doesn't seem like they're out on him. They would rather have him in than Mason Rudolph. But you cannot do that. You absolutely cannot do that. Kamari Lassiter says that he's ready to go. I put the short up. You can check that out. Kamari Lassiter, Texans second-year corner. He's getting pretty comfortable. He says he's comfortable with whatever they ask him to do. I would imagine that they find him on Jefferson every once in a while. My biggest fear is Kevin O'Connell finds ways to move around Jefferson and get him in the slot against Jalen Petrie. Right now, it's been all sunshines and rainbows and awesome with Jalen Petrie in that new role. With how much they move Jefferson around, maybe there's a couple of instances where they have that. I would think that the Texans would help over the top, although I don't even know if that matters with what they got at safety. I mean, the way that Jimmy Ward guarded the deep ball against Indianapolis, they weren't really challenged as much with Chicago. I don't think Chicago had time to get it to develop, but the Vikings got good tackles. Jefferson, the difference last week was the 97-yard touchdown. So it'll be interesting to see kind of that mix. Am I good at Akers running the rock? Yeah, I think Akers is fine. Do I, like, over the course of an entire game, like, you're handing him the ball 15, 20 times? How do I feel about that? I mean, I have a healthy amount of skepticism, but I actually have a healthy amount of skepticism with anyone that the Texans run the ball with, because I don't know how dependent this offensive line is. It's the pass blocking hasn't been good. The run blocking was good week 1. It wasn't awesome week 2. So yeah, I'm not overly comfortable with them running the rock with anyone right now. Cap Insano 713. I think Bobby's going to take advantage of how much Flores blitzes, and with Mixon out, CJ is going to be slinging the rock. Yeah, we'll see how Bobby handles the Flores stuff. The other thing about, when you're getting praised for all this exotic stuff, sometimes you can probably try to do a little bit too much. And we'll see what that looks like with Flores. He's damn sure getting a hell of a lot of love. That's for sure. Backup running back for the 49ers at 100 yards and 5 yards a carry. No reason our backup shouldn't repeat it. That backup running back has been pretty good. You're talking about Mason. Mason's been really good. I don't know that you're expecting Cam Akers to go get 100 yards. I think that's a weird thing to expect, especially with what we saw last week against the Bears. Although Juice Scruggs is back, and that definitely helps. Darnold has to see ghosts early. He's never escaped that ghost comment, has he? Look, it's still Sam Darnold at the end of the day. And nobody has made Sam Darnold look uncomfortable. San Francisco actually played like crap week 2. And they're very banged up. Like, look at their injury report. They're very banged up. So It is still Sam Darnold. Like, and we know what Sam Darnold is right now. Like, if this were like a second year or third year guy, I wouldn't say it like that, but we know what Sam Darnold is. They didn't want to start Sam Darnold. They drafted JJ McCarthy. And I don't know like how good is JJ McCarthy, who knows, but we knew the Vikings were so desperate to find a quarterback this year that they made a trade with the Texans for the Texans first round pick like a month before the draft. And that's how proactively they were trying to go get a quarterback. I don't even know that they cared what quarterback they got. Like, would they have taken Penix instead of McCarthy? Like, were they just willing to take any quarterback? But they didn't even think that Sam Darnold was that good. They thought he was a backup. So it's still Sam Darnold. You got to kind of go Slim Shady with Sam Darnold. The real Sam Darnold, please stand up. That's what Nico and the Texans are going to have to do. And it is still Sam Darnold, no doubt. So I don't even know, like, how do you pressure him? I think the Texans can pressure rushing forward. That's the beauty of it. I don't know that you have to get overly creative. But I just find it funny that we're sitting here, we're talking about Brian Flores, and D'Amico Ryans hadn't even been mentioned when it comes to defensive coaches. And D'Amico Ryans, his task is make Sam Darnold feel uncomfortable. Brian Flores' task is make CJ Stroud feel uncomfortable. Which test would you rather take? Like, if I told you you're a defensive coordinator, and I think the personnel on Minnesota is good. I don't think it's bad at all. They got some really underrated players on that defense. But if I told you you can pick one task, you can either stop CJ Stroud or you can stop Sam Darnold. And it's two of the more respected defensive minds in the league. Which test do you want to take? If the goal is to win and the goal is to pass the test. It's pretty simple. The last time Sam Darnold was in this situation, it was actually, I think, 2021 when Matt Rule was in Carolina. The Carolina Panthers were 2-0. They came to NRG, Thursday Night Football. They won the game, and then they just completely melted down the rest of the season. I think Sam Darnold lost like 8 of 9 games after winning that third game. So, yeah, eventually Sam Darnold will Sam Darnold. And will Minnesota be able to overcome that? Who knows? They do have a pretty good, underrated, balanced squad. So, we'll see. But again, CJ Stroud, Sam Darnold. Which one you taking? I think that's really that's something that it comes down to. Can you gut these games out? Now, you don't want to put CJ Stroud in like 3rd and 12, 3rd and 13, like all that. So you're going to have to get creative on first down. I know Mina Kimes decided to talk about Slowick running the ball on first. I feel like that was just a 1-game sample size and going back to last year. Texans actually haven't been very effective throwing the ball when they have. I saw John Crumpler, give him a follow. He's one of the better guys that breaks down film. I saw that Sam Darnold or the Texans are near the bottom when it comes to throwing on first down. Not the percentage that they do it, the effectiveness in which it happens. So I think that's a little bit overblown right now. Do I think Bobby Slowick is like a flawless play caller? No, he's still kind of young, but I don't look at anything that has happened the last couple of weeks and say Bobby Slowick is doing this wrong. I think Mina Kimes really zones in on the Texans one time, and then she asks ESPN Stats and Info for some stats. They send you stats, and they can send you any stats. I mean, you could ask ESPN Stats and Info. Shout out to Barry Vagoda. You could ask him, hey, I want to know CJ Stroud's completion percentage in games under 58 degrees and above 75 degrees, and they'll have you that in 5 minutes. It was astonishing when that was a resource. But that's basically what happens. You zone in, you get stats. If the stats back up what your opinion was, then you use them. If they don't, you probably throw them away. Just being honest. You use the stats to back up what you say. I can't tell you how many times, although sometimes I'll just look up the counter and I'll throw it out there. But you do like all this research. Like, damn, that's not really going to back up my point. Let me throw that in the trash. I'm looking down at the trash can while I say that. So yeah, that's where that's where that comes from when it comes to Mina Kimes. But Sting versus Jefferson is going to be interesting to see. I'll be honest. I don't know, like based on what we've seen from Derek Stingley the first 2 weeks, I don't know that I'm excited about this matchup. I would like to provide some help, some assistance for Derek Stingley over the top, to be honest with you. Adonai Mitchell got the best of him in week 1. I thought he was much better in week 2, although some would say that there was kind of opportunities with DJ Moore that Caleb Williams didn't have the time or the accuracy to take advantage of. But Sting versus Jefferson, we'll see what that's like. I know they go back and there's always like the legend of Derek Stingley at LSU as the freshman, and he's practicing in high school against Jefferson and Chase and all that. I don't think they're really buddies or anything like that. He said as much. They know each other. They're in the LSU family. But this isn't like, some sort of like BFFs going at it. But I like Derek Stingley. I think Derek Stingley is elite when he's on. Maybe he rises to the occasion. I wouldn't put that past him. But based on what I've seen the last 2 weeks or last few weeks, I've heard some Texans fans saying, man, I can't wait for this matchup. This is going to be great. I would not be that excited about it. I would kind of just, hey, Jimmy Ward or Eric Murray or whoever, let's help out here. Because really Jefferson's the only guy that you're overly scared of. This isn't like you're facing the Cincinnati Bengals and you have Jamar Chase on one side and T. Higgins on the other. This isn't that. So you don't have to stubbornly put Stingley on an island. This is the Vikings have some decent players, but like the Bill Belichick, you can take one guy away. If you take Justin Jefferson away, I think you're in pretty damn good shape. And asking Derek Stingley, asking anyone to just follow him around and guard him one-on-one, that's a lot to ask. Maybe he's up for the challenge. Who knows? Will he follow him? It's a hard follow. I said this earlier. It's a very hard follow. He moves around as much as any receiver in the NFL. He is elite in the slot. Elite in the slot. He's elite on the outside. So we'll see what they do. I just don't. I would like to give a lot of attention to Jefferson as much as possible. The other thing is there's another chess match. Like we keep talking about Brian Flores and how good of a job Brian Flores is doing. Kevin O'Connell, man, you hear CJ Stroud talk about Kevin O'Connell. He has the utmost respect for him. And this is a guy who's one of the more respected offensive minds in the league. Now, he had Kirk Cousins early on. That's not like a high ceiling type of quarterback. It's a good quarterback, and they had some success together. Now he's with Sam Darnold, and he's 2-0, and I expect them to be much like Indianapolis last year, where they're kind of a fringe playoff team, even with the backup quarterback. But, as much as you're talking about Stingley following, I'm sure Kevin O'Connell's looking at some tape and saying, okay, I can figure some stuff out. So there's just a lot of really intriguing chess matches in this matchup in regards to the coaches as well. And it's going to be a really, really fun one. Me personally, what I would feel best about, the three things that I would feel best about if I am a Texans fan before I get out of here and begin my weekend of pigskin, Saturday and Sunday version. Post-game show, by the way, 3:15 right here. We're going to get up to 1,000 deep. I think we've been like 900 the last two. We're going to get 1,000 deep. By the way, shout out to everyone just surpassed 11,000 subscribers. So I appreciate y'all for riding along when it comes to that. But the three things I think you feel best about when it comes to the Houston Texans right now: the quarterback, obviously, specifically the quarterback matchup, the guys you got on the edge in Hunter and Anderson, and the cornerbacks. You feel good about the cornerbacks and you feel good about the coaching. That's a bonus one. So who knows what happens? Sprinkle some money on this game. The Nico Collins props are really, really interesting. If you go to BetUS, put $10 in, use the promo code YouTube150 and you'll have $25 to mess around with this weekend, or you can go even bigger. Go 100, go 250. Who knows? That's your first deposit up to $2,000, and then 125 percent after that. Subscribe, like, ride along, enjoy. I'll talk to y'all throughout the week, and I'll talk to you on the post-game show on Sunday. Always remember, when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together. Have a wonderful weekend.
Won't stop. Yeah, we top 2 and we not too plugged in daily digital on YouTube. We got taste for days, opinions to give, we got takeaways. If it's up, then it's up. We number 1. You don't need to try your luck. Locker room, yeah, we in the locker room.